Habari gani? UJAMAA! Today is the 4th day of Kwanzaa, which is the day of UJAMAA, which means cooperative economics. To build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. So today's lesson is going to be about money, entrepreneurship, and we're going to have a good old time. So before I start, I will keep in line with our routine. I will say a libation to our ancestors and pour the water into this plant to symbolize that we are giving to the earth because the earth gives to us, and we will call the names of our ancestors who are in Black history or in our family. And you can say it with me and say Ashe. So make sure to get your water. Malcolm X, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, Ellen Craft, Betty Shabazz, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown Jr., Vonderrit Myers, Emmett Till, Mamie Bradley, Ashe, Metta Warrick Fuller, Florence Mills, Ella Fitzgerald, Benjamin Banneker, Hank Aaron, Ashe, Han Metzeliger, Garrett Morgan, Ashe, Charles Drew, Queen Hatshepsut, Queen Nzinga, Yaasante Wa, Queen Candace, Mansa Musa, Ashe, Sinifer, Yoki King, Ashe, and for the hundreds and thousands of Africans whose names we'll never know because they lost their lives in the Great Ma'afa, we remember them now. Ashe. And with this we say the ancestors are pleased. So I have my notes to keep me on track. At the end of this video, we are going to be having a slideshow, and this time I'm going to be posting in the description box the names of the people in each slide, which I haven't done before in the other slides. That way you can look up the people and do your own research. So anyway, to start off, we are going to do 3 Black business shout-outs. 3 Black business shout-outs instead of 2 because today is cooperative economics and we are going to be talking about money. So, first business is my business because you gotta pay yourself first. And it is my Zazzle store, Pan-African Paradigm, where I sell products like cards, notebooks, buttons, magnets, featuring people of African descent in a positive light. So I'll have my link to that below. The next business is the St. Louis Black Pages. It is owned by the Densons, and it is basically like a Yellow Pages, but instead of just having everybody, it features Black-owned businesses for your every need. So Mr. Denson and Mrs. Denson, they're very hard workers, very good people, and they do all that they can to support, the Black community, even through the use of ads. So a lot of people have found other Black businesses using the Black Pages, and a lot of people collect them every year. So I'm going to post their link below as well. And the last Black business is I See Me, African American and Multicultural Children's Bookstore. It is a Black-owned bookstore featuring books for people of African descent, from little baby board books to adult books. There's posters, there's poetry books, chapter books, almost any book that you can think of that you could get for a Black child, teenager, or adult. They go out in the community and they donate books. They also go out and have book fairs, kind of like Scholastic has book fairs, except it is I See Me Bookstore. So you can go to their website, buy some books. They're going to be moving soon. So yes, I am going to also show you our featured Black book of the day. It is the only Black book I have on money, which is kind of sad, and I need to change that. And it is Get Real, Get Rich by Farrah Gray. This is Farrah Gray. His first book was Reallionaire. He started his own business when he was 6 years old, and by the time he became 14 years old, he was a millionaire. He was a millionaire. So this is somebody I would suggest that you listen to. I've only met him one time in real life when he came to the Black Expo in St. Louis. Well, I need to add that to my lecture, the Black Expo in St. Louis. Yes, so I have not read this book completely, but so far it has been good. Help you get off the struggle bus if you're on the struggle bus like me. Anyway, so our ancestral shout out today is going to be for wealthy Black people and entrepreneurs throughout Black history. So my slideshow at the end is going to feature all sorts of people of African descent. Some you may agree with, others you may not agree with. I don't know how some of them made their money, but they're wealthy, they are entrepreneurs, and they are in my video. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to post down below in the description box the links or their names in order so you can go and do your own research. Now the topic for today: cooperative economics. Buying from ourselves, keeping our own dollars in our pockets. You'd think it would be easier said than done, but it really is not. Sometimes we imagine ourselves as poor. When I was a child, I really didn't think Black people had any money. Maybe because I was struggling, but I didn't think Black people had that much money until I started meeting Black people with money. And what is ironic is collectively, all over the world, we are basically the richest people. Globally speaking, we are basically one of the richest people on this planet. Yet, collectively, it does not show in our individual pockets, in our own pockets. You have people building Black businesses that struggle to stay open. There was a Black business here, this is called Yours Market. They had organic food for a reasonable price. That got shut down. There was also a Black bookstore called UJAMAA, and it did have support. There were 3 different locations, but the business owner died, and the sister had a hard time keeping it open because they were putting a lot of pressure on her, and that ended up closing down. And it should not have closed down. We should have just all gathered our money together to keep it open. But it closed down. And for a long time, there was no Black-owned bookstore in this town. There was another one that stayed open for a year, and that closed down. It was called Not Just a Bookstore. So Martin Luther King mentioned this in one of his last speeches about collectively, we are the wealthiest people on this earth. He also said to stop buying from places that will not hire you. Stop buying from places that destroy your community. Can you imagine what would happen now? And people have tried this like every Kwanzaa, every Black Friday. They always say this. They're like, let's not shop. It's going to be a blackout. We're only going to buy from Black-owned business. Don't buy from that business. And I mean, a handful do it, but not a lot of us do it. But just imagine what would happen if all of us as Black people pulled our money and just stopped shopping altogether. Not even from a Black-owned business. Just stop shopping altogether. This economy would fall. It would fall. It would crash because we are circulating money all of the time. I'm saying this as a person who has worked at several businesses. 2 of them were Black-owned. 2 of them were Black-owned. And it was harder for the Black people to stay open than for the other people to stay open. So, one example, I worked at a beauty supply store. And that is the last time I will ever work at a beauty supply store, because that store almost freaking killed me based off of the chemicals that were in the store. Me inhaling them for 3 months. I became very ill. But anyway, that was my little spiel. I worked in a beauty supply store. The owner had about 8 different locations, and each location, I believe, made over $1 million a year based off of us alone. We were the main buyers of that beauty supply store. We would buy $1 cocoa butter sticks, $1 earrings, expired products that we didn't even know were expired. I had to tell people, hey, that's expired. You probably don't want to use that. Losing our hairlines, buying chemical sew-ins and wigs that only took our hair away. Spending $300 like every day. We would make, I swear to God, I don't even know how much we would make a day, but it was a lot of money because people were running in and out of that store all day long, buying $1 this and $1 that and $1 this and $3 that. And the only real things in that store were a cocoa butter stick and a jar of shea butter. Everything else was just poisonous, essentially. I can say that now because I worked in there and I got physically ill. I didn't use any of the products, but breathing in the fumes made me physically sick for over a month with stomach pains from out of nowhere. So if we are paying somebody to kill us, why can't we pay somebody that will benefit our community? Why can't we pay a Black businesswoman, a Black businessman who can be a role model for our children? There was a time, like I said, when I was a child, I didn't know Black people had money because I didn't really see it around me. Like if I had really opened my eyes, I would have seen it. But I was in my own little clustered world. I went out to school in St. Peter's, and there was in my school maybe like 5 Black people. The rest of the children basically lived out in the suburbs. I would go to their houses, have little sleepovers, just look at their beautiful houses with their money, and it just made me feel more poor because I didn't have that much money. We were basically on the struggle bus. So in my mind, it got ingrained in my mind that Black people were poor until I met a Black family from, I guess the parents were from Nigeria. That was one of the first wealthy Black families that I had seen. It literally blew my mind. As I got older and my eyes started to open, I started seeing more well-to-do Black people, Black engineers, Black doctors, Black actors, Black news anchor people. I'm sorry, I don't want to get off of track. But anyway, we have to expose ourselves to Black wealth. And I feel sometimes we collectively may be afraid of getting too much wealth based off of what happened in history. You know, like how you had Black Wall Street. You're like, okay, you don't want me to eat at your store because I'm Black. You don't want me to shop at your business because I'm Black. So let me just separate from you and start my own little town, my own little section, and keep my money in my own community and get rich that way. And you see what happened there. Got bombed. Bombed. That's terrifying. You would have people who were successful in business, Black people who were successful in business, and they would get lynched for being successful in business because they were beating their competitors. When you start a Black-owned business, it's not just a business. It is a symbol of power. It is a symbol of autonomy. You're not just a wage slave anymore. You're not on the struggle bus anymore. You're taking a very big risk to get off of the struggle bus and to be successful and to dictate your own life. But I don't know, like we have to learn as a people. There are a handful of us that know this, but we have to learn financial literacy. We have to learn what our personal relationship with money is on an individual basis. We have to know how to utilize our money for good. And I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself, because I personally don't have much financial savvy. I'm still learning. I would like to be a wealthy Black person and travel the world and eat nice things and not have to worry about checking my, checking account all the time. Like, am I in the negative? Am I in the negative? I hope I'm not. I hope this bill didn't overdraft me. We have to place in our homes symbols of wealth. Mansa Musa, one of actually probably the wealthiest Black man in the world. Everywhere he went, he left gold. Everywhere he went, he changed the economy. I feel one of the reasons some of us don't support Black-owned businesses is because some of us don't trust each other. Some of us feel like we're not getting good service. They're like, well, why should I shop from this Black-owned business if they didn't give me any good service today? Why should I shop from this Black-owned business if I gave them my money and they didn't do what they said they would do with my money? I know there's still a lot of people angry at Dr. Umar Johnson because they gave him all of that money and they're still asking, where is the school that you promised you would build? Where is the school that you promised that you would build for us? But you know what? We can't just depend on one person to build schools for us. I used to rant a lot. Like, I'm kind of a ranter. If I see something, I'm not just gonna let it slide. I'm going to say something. I said, why is it that there's so many abandoned houses, empty houses on this block? Don't we have the money to purchase all of these LRA houses? Don't the Black Muslims have Farrakhan started this program where you donate like 5 cents and it's to go to different programs. I'm like, okay, one of the most organized Black people are the Muslims, or so I believe in the community, but yet I never would see them out buying up whole blocks. Why don't you buy up the whole block and convert these houses into something, convert these houses into a business to keep circulating money in our community? We're organized, we talk about money, but we don't circulate money, except for a handful of us. But overall, we don't circulate money. We buy from people who don't even care about us. We buy from people who systematically destroy our community. Oh, sorry, I'm just kind of like, I'm getting personal because I have seen it with my own 2 eyes. The struggle of Black business owners trying to stay open, trying to gather support of their people. It's like you have 2 different types. You got the ones that are like, yes, I'm gonna buy from you. They'll send people over. They'll send people, shop at this Black-owned business. Yeah, send your money over there. And they'll just send people to you. And then there's the others. It's like dragging tooth and nail. It's like, well, why isn't this free? Well, can't I get a discount? I'm like, look, do you go to Walmart and ask for a discount? Do you go to Target and ask for a discount? Then why are you asking from your own brother and sister? No, pay the full price, just like you pay all these other people the full price. When you pay the full price, you're saying that you feel like it is worth the full price. But when you're trying to get a discount from a Black-owned business, that's almost like low-key insulting them. Like, you might not take it as an insult, but they take it as an insult when you're asking for discounts. Like, well, I could just get this at such and such a thing, or this is expensive. But whatever. So we collectively have to learn financial literacy. If you know financial literacy, please educate your people about financial literacy. If you don't know, Find somebody who knows, even if you have to pay them, even if you have to read a bunch of books if you don't want to pay somebody. Make sure that you invest this time in learning about money, because if you don't know about money, somebody who knows about money is going to take your money and you won't have any money. Talking to myself too, because I am obviously not rich yet, but I will be rich. 2019 is my wealthy year. 2019 is my UJAMAA year, and 2019 should be your UJAMAA year too. Sorry for pointing at you. Your UJAMAA year too. If you are struggling, make sure you get that financial literacy in your mind. That is your task for the day. That is your task for today. Write down how you can get your money together. Write down what income you would like by the end of 2019. Visualize what you would do with that money when you get it. Are you going to save it? Are you going to start your own businesses? We all don't have to struggle with a 9-to-5 job. Some of us want to be entrepreneurs. Some of us don't want to get up and work for the man. We want to travel. We want to have autonomy over ourselves. We want to have control over our money. Even if it's not in this American society, there's other countries. You can go out there. Be wealthy in another country. Just like those black people during, what was it? Was the Harlem Renaissance? No. Okay, like somebody like Josephine Baker. She's like, I'm sick of this country. I'm going to France. I just went off to France. Go where you're appreciated. Go where people will pay you for your worth. Be like the Moors of Spain. Be like Mansa Musa. Be like those pharaohs dripping in gold. You can do it. Your ancestors did it. So I wish everybody a happy UJAMAA. And here is the slideshow. Bye-bye.